Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are on Thursday, February 29th. We're going to take a look at SoundHound today. So with earnings coming up, I thought we'd come and take a look and see where it might hit some support or resistance if it does have a big reaction to earnings. And then, of course, there are some near-in levels where we may see it sort of settle or pin to if it does move relatively sideways. Now, we haven't covered SoundHound before, but I have heard some of the hype, some of the buzz about it. Obviously, it recently came up from about $1.50 all the way up to almost $8. So my first question is going to be, what could be said on an earnings call that will feel to folks like, hey, we want to keep driving the stock versus we've priced a lot of really good news in already, and we're not going to continue to add fuel to this rocket. I don't know. We'll see how the sentiment is. Of course, some is going to rely, or a lot is going to rely on the actual content of the report itself. But it should be mighty interesting because we don't often see a move that's that insane pretty close into earnings and then have, another huge catalyst about to drop. So we'll see what happens. But near in levels, 719, if it kind of moved sideways, I could see it pinning itself right around there. If it does decide to jump back up or push even higher, 810, 873 look like potential resistance levels to me. And I felt compelled to map this out pretty high because it's already doing insane things. So 1054, 1262, and 1451. Some of these levels get really spread out. And while something can move really quickly and skip a bunch of levels on earnings or on, other large catalysts, there's going to be, if it does start to put in some additional price action in this range, I would expect it to put in some new structures, some new formations, and to get some more granular levels in there. As it is, we have very thin price action to go off of, I guess is how we could put it, to the upside there. Now to the downside, there was a bit more that we could pull from, obviously. 622, 498, 379. There is a gap down here that would get into at about 311. And then I have a level here at 254, which would be shy of filling that gap. I guess it would fill around, I'm on the wrong candle here, would fill around 231 or so. If that's the right candle. 242? Yeah, I think it would fill at 242. I don't know why it's so hard to... Yeah, 242. Okay, so those are the levels to the upside and the downside as I see them. Again, didn't want to clutter the chart too much. Some areas had thin price action, so just know there may develop some additional levels in between some of those ones that are really spread out. Now, where to go from here? On the think or swim side of things, it had this lengthy trigger and fire that looked like it was doing nothing, and then, it finally shot off. So how much of that is tied to this trigger and fire? It's a little hard to tell. I do tend to feel that we don't often see something firing for that long, remaining just sort of tight into an already compressed channel, and then flying. And being able to tie it back very neatly to that previous call out by the TTM squeeze indicator. So, we'll see. Regardless, it still is inching up higher here on the histogram with the bullish pressure. So is that going to continue to be able to rise, or is that going to plateau off, or is it going to draw down quickly? We'll have to wait and see. Now, obviously, it's way out of the upper bound of the channel at the moment. That doesn't mean that it can't continue to spend quite a bit of time out of the channel. We've seen this before with stocks. If they get just the right tailwind and the right catalysts, and people, it's at the right price where people feel that they can buy in heavy, it can certainly continue to stay out of the channel. That said, eventually, whether it's because it's dragging the channel up with it and the price continues to rise, or it comes sort of crashing down back into the channel and hits it that way, or if it moves sideways and just sort of reintegrates into the channel that way, at some point, it'll be interesting to see what it does when it does make contact with the channel. Does it get drawn deeply into it? Does it need to come down and test that full mid-range? If so, what does it do there? Does it sort of get hit with some some heavy reaction and come down and stretch through the channel, we'll see. Obviously, if there's more bullish momentum to be exhausted, what we sometimes see is basically what happened here. It used the wave cloud or the upper bound of the channel as support, and that, like I said, not always, but can commonly mean that there's some additional movement in that direction to be exhausted before it's going to have any further move deeper into the channel. So we'll see how that all plays out, but it should be quite an interesting one with the ride that this stock has already taken people on. All right, folks, I hope that your trading week has been going well, and as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.